Well, everybody's heard about the bird. The bird's a winner, well, a bird.
Grown men watch this shit?
A podcast about indie wrestling.
Bird is a winner, well, a bird. Well, a bird is a winner, well, a bird. The bird's a winner, well, a bird. Well, a bird is.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to
Grown men watch this shit.
We Do. And if
you made it to the end of this show,
yeah,
you know how this show has come together.
indeed.
Welcome to the beginning of this show.
I wanted to acknowledge because we recorded the end of the show as well as a really swell interview with international wrestling superstar Mark Davis, which you all, I hope you enjoy. But yeah, we recorded that just before, and now we're coming back to record the start of the show. So we wanted to make sure to weirdly acknowledge that to you guys. Draw the curtain back a little bit, you know.
Most podcasts wouldn't do that, but you know what? We're here for you, the fans, to let you in on the entire experience.
We respect our listeners and we respect their intelligence. We don't want to be working you guys, you know, making you think that, hey, you know, we recorded this first. We want to, you know, let you know what's up.
Yes, sir.
No
Hey,
Fabian here.
No, sir. It's been not too long since I last spoke to you, but it's good to talk to you again. Last time we spoke, we went at lengths
We did.
about our own personal lives, and I think it was a great show.
I enjoyed
I
it.
just wanted to follow up on maybe something we discussed last time, which is
Ooh.
tomorrow. Not tomorrow by the
The big
any
day.
reasoning of the fence.
The big
Tomorrow
day.
I start with Without a Cause Pro Wrestling as apparently lead commentator.
What?
I've never done play by play.
You should
I
get
think
a
I'm just
business
gonna-
card made up, sir.
Lead commentator, Jeremey.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. I think I'm just gonna go, you know, kind of loose and just talk about the wrestling show I'm seeing. I'm not gonna go move for move and maybe just tell a little story. And I hear that there may be a mixture of maybe certain wrestlers who are on the card joining me
Ooh,
on
in the
commentary,
booth.
a la Excalibur. Yeah, kind of like that,
Ooh, I like
which
it.
I find exciting. I do not want to lead commentary all on my own. I think that is a
So you don't think you're
disaster.
at that Joey Styles ECW 95 through before when Joel Gertner came in? You're not quite Joey Styles just yet?
No, I've only done it twice, and both times it was with another person. They have a lot of confidence in me, so hopefully I follow through with them. Or it could be an amazing debacle that gives this wrestling company a lot of news, where Jaims Vanderbeek from Twitter fucked up their announcement on first show.
Either way, it's all positive. I love it. Well,
It's good for them.
I'm glad that we got to talk like now before you do the show, which will have already happened when our listeners listen to this.
Or curtain.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I'm happy that we get to talk before it as opposed to after it, so I can sort of get your thoughts going into it. You know, either like the way you're kind of approaching it. I mean, you mentioned that a little bit already, but what's kind of going through your head with the big day being tomorrow?
Well, the first thing I've done is I made sure to take a look at the card. Few of the wrestlers I have pretty experience with, but maybe to hammer out some other details of their careers, or maybe some more information to lend me a hand when
Ooh.
my brain is racing.
Are you
I've
going to
taken
be
down some
asking
notes.
for signature moves and finishes, that kind of thing?
I believe that I will ask them so I can adequately name their finisher if they were able to pull it. So yeah, but more trying to get an idea of maybe the story going into the match.
I was going to say that's a good
all that.
one, because a lot of commentators wouldn't necessarily put the work in for asking that, and they'll just reactively, you know, react to stuff, which can be cool in its own thing. But I think it adds to something when you can sort of know the story that they're going for, so you can see things with the right eyes to be able to build it in the right way, if you kind of follow me.
100%. I also plan to speak with whatever booker man or the brass to let them know I am fully aware and adept to promote or push any sort of angle that they may be trying to bring forward. So
Mm.
definitely to try to get that information ahead of time. Hey, what do you want me to actually fit in here in my conversation about the match? So I am taking it very seriously, but you know me, buddy, I'm full of anxiety and angst all the time. So I am a little overwhelmed, but I'm following through. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to call in sick. I'm not going to fucking
Awesome.
say, fuck it. I'm doing this shit because I always wanted to be a part of professional wrestling. If it comes to being a commentator, who knows what can come from that? Who knows?
Exactly.
I feel like I have a gift for gab so much.
I would agree with that. So I think you are quite good on the vocal side of things.
Appreciate
I mean, do you have? It definitely sounds like you're approaching this in a serious and professional manner, which I wanted to commend you for. Can I ask, are there any commentary influences potentially going on here, so I can kind of imagine in my head, the kind of style of commentary that you're going to be approaching here?
I'm not going to pepper in hip hop wrestling analogies. I'm not Mauro Ronaldo. I'm not going to be that excited. I'm going to be as Jeremey as possible. I'm going to keep
I
it.
like it. Be yourself.
Be me. I might talk a little bit more, verbose and be a little bit bigger than I normally would be, and maybe a little bit more poetic at times. But I'm just going to be trying to keep it like a loose conversation. So
Beautiful.
maybe like a Corey Graves, he's not like trying to be
I hate Corey
overly
Graves.
critical of you hate him as a commentary?
I was actually joking,
I mean-
but
I mean
seriously,
more-
I'm not that
oh, yeah.
much of a fan.
I meant more as like just being a natural person who is like not trying to take themselves way too seriously while they're doing commentary. They're just discussing. He's clearly a fan while he's talking. He's going to bust balls if somebody says something stupid. But maybe let's go Corey Graves and Tony Schiavone.
Oh
A mix
yeah,
of
there
that.
you go.
Old school
There
wrestling.
you go. Love me some Tony Schiavone. So I mean, that's cool. Do you other than that, like, do you have any kind of commentators that you've really looked up to through the years? Like, are you more of a Jesse Ventura kind of guy, or more of a Bobby Heenan? Where you're at?
We're
here?
going for color commentary because it sounds like I'm a mixture of both. My favorite color commentator of all time will have to be Bobby the Brain Heenan. I love me
Classic.
some Jesse, and I loved me some Macho when he was paired with Vince. But yeah, Bobby was fucking great. Actually, you know what? Speaking of Macho, I don't think Macho gives enough credit. He didn't like doing the job because he felt like he got
Yeah,
put
he
up on the
wanted to
shelf
be
a little bit
wrestling.
earlier. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think he did a fucking tremendous job when he was
Agreed.
actually trying. Yeah.
Yeah. I personally, it'll always be Jesse. Like, to me, there's something about Jesse Ventura, like just that, like you're talking about the ball
Big
busting
man,
side of
what a
it, and I mean,
man.
there's something just so nice about Jesse's voice as well. I can just listen to Jesse Ventura talk like on his fucking conspiracy theory show, like at length, and I'll never
yeah.
get sick of it. But I mean,
This is Minnesota.
that was pretty good.
Thank you.
The CIA doesn't want us to know.
I'm done.
I think as well, it's like I've always had just an innate love for like that Midwest, like Minnesota kind of an accent. So to combine that like niceness of a Midwest accent with someone as like intense as Jesse, it's like just the mecca.
A
for me.
dichotomy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. And then as well, like, he was a pretty over the top kind of character. And I mean, some people might think he did, but to me, I thought he always walked the line so well between like putting himself over, but also putting the match over, kind of thing. Whereas a lot of guys will go like way over the top kind of thing. Like a JBL is probably a good example of someone who would put themselves over at the expense of the match. Whereas I always thought Jesse walked that line really well.
Yeah, I am a little bit nervous, and because my expectation, I am a bit of a perfectionist, so I want it to be literally perfect my first go out, but I need to realize that's not going to be the case. It's going to be a learning curve. If I plan to continue doing this, I'm going to probably fuck up a bit the first time. be some dead air at points. But you know what? I just got to keep coming back. I can't let my fucking brain get ahead of me and be. I've said this recently: is sometimes your brain has shit for brains, and it tries to fucking fuck with you and not allow you to do things you want to follow through on. And I'm not gonna let it do it this time.
Yeah, for real, man. That's an awesome attitude. And like with the commentary
sir.
thing, it's great that, by the sounds of it, it's like you're in it for the long haul. So like, and that's the main deal of like going through. You know, it may be a little bit rocky to start, but you know that once you get that like 5 shows or 10 shows under your belt, you know it's going to be so much smoother. I mean, even if you approach it like an actual worker debuting on his first wrestling show, it's almost like with that, the expectation of it's going to be terrible, but just let's try to make it as not terrible as possible. And no matter what,
Yep.
you're going to look back on it, you know, and be like, oh, fuck me. But the important thing is just getting that down and continuing through. And I almost think that, frankly, it's not even going to be terrible. I think you're going to do well. That's just
Thank
me.
you, brother. Appreciate it. All right, well,
Nice.
let's move into a little bit of not us and some wrestling. One thing we can go into is a tried and true segment of our show. David Arquette Watch. The most recent thing I saw was
Before we
covered
go into
quite
it, can I just ask?
Oh shit!
We've been
Go.
doing this intro for a long time.
Yes.
In your mind, is this like some sort of? Is there a fax going through when David Arquette Watch comes on? Is it like a radio signal that's being interrupted with like an emergency?
Morse code.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a Morse code thing. You know, like
Okay.
when they like the guy's just pushing the button over and over. I don't know. That's a good question. Morse code. What do you think, pal? What are you reasoning?
To me, it's like, I think, yeah, when you're on the internet and you get a fax and you get that like noise come through and it fucks up the signal. Yeah. So that's my interpretation. Oh yeah, it's like yeah, when you're watching TV and like there's sort of some sort of emergency event and the news team comes in and it's like beep 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 beep.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Coming out of Missouri.
Yeah. I'm glad we're able to
Ah.
illustrate that a little bit more for our listeners in this pulling back the curtain episode of Grown Men Watch This Shit.
Indeed.
But
Well, how did we come up with our idea for this Foley work?
yeah, such polish.
Yes.
So
Mr. Arquette,
the David Arquette news, what is it?
He was covered on TMZ for doing some pretty amazing spots on a wrestling match when he's doing a tag team with one RJ City. Huge crossbody coming off the top rope to the outside, which is tremendous. And as long as the people below are catching you, scary, but hopefully fairly safe. But the
Generally
one that
the
I thought
idea.
was, huh?
It's generally the idea. I mean, as a former wrestler, whenever you're doing a crossbody or catching a crossbody, the catching is the worst part because no matter what, if you've got like 4 guys there who are catching a dive, in theory you're like, oh, this is going to be really well evenly dispersed. You know, the surface area, everyone's going to catch a little bit of it. It's going to be great. Doesn't ever work out like that. Like there's going to be one guy that's just eating shit and getting like a pelvis / dick just to the head, and there's going to be another guy that catches nothing whatsoever, but then takes a bump like he did anyway. And then,
he's the guy at the back of the group.
Yeah, and then probably 2 other guys that maybe get a thigh, and the other one gets like a wrist. Like that's pretty much how these dives are always happening. I mean, maybe that's just terrible wrestling.
I think as a fan, you could see very clearly that is a lot of the case.
Yeah.
But the thing that I thought was really interesting is he actually was recently involved in an interview where with Mr. One, Vince Russo, I think he might have been mentioned at some point.
Bro.
They discussed his being informed that he was going to be winning the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. And I guess it just kind of was sprung on him casually by one WWE Hall of Famer, Diamond Dallas Page. Just said, hey, man, we're going to put the title on you. And David Arquette's like, what the fuck is going on? Why are we doing this? Because he was a wrestling fan. He himself understood why that's probably not the greatest way to go. But who is he to object? They're promoting his movie. But what do you think? I mean, as one who is a wrestler and a wrestling fan, if you were sprung on that you're going to win the biggest title of the company that you're working with, are you going to walk away and say, no, fuck this shit?
Yeah, right. I mean, it's a weird situation to be in. It's pretty interesting, like just hearing that perspective of it. I almost have like a policy where I don't listen to any Vince Russo anything, because it's probably
Agreed.
just
That's
going
why
to
I'm
make
glad
me.
somebody covered it on a
Yeah.
separate story.
Yeah, great stuff. So no one has to actually listen to it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, such a weird position to be put in. Like you're a celebrity, like sort of at the height of David Arquette's name being pretty big there in the late 90s, and you're doing this like fun wrestling crossover deal. It's like a celebrity appearance, and then like, you know what, we want to put the main belt on you. And him knowing a bit about wrestling, knew that the way that this was going to be
Received.
the way this was going to be received, the way the fans were going to not be big fans of it, because it's almost weird talking about it now, because at least when it comes to WWE and mainstream wrestling, like the belts don't mean anything. Whereas back then, as much as like people like to talk about like everything in WCW being terrible and rah rah rah, and the booking, I mean the booking was pretty bad back then, but at the same time the belt still meant a lot. Like I think that
had
WCW
direct lineage to NWA. It had direct lineage to NWA. I mean,
I reckon like the WCW World Heavyweight title meant more than like the WWF or E1 has since then. Full stop. Maybe, I mean, there are some different, times, like I remember with Punk's run where he had that really long record title run, like that actually meant something. By the time it was like, oh, who's going to beat him kind of deal. So there have been some moments, but as a whole, I think the WCW title meant more to people than WWE has since. So it's almost hard for people to imagine now, like, why was it such a big deal? If WWE put their main belt on, who's a good example now? Who you got?
For like, as far as goofy people that have gotten the title, like Miz?
No, like a celebrity. Who would be the equivalent of like a David Arquette walking in and winning the WWE Championship today?
When Kevin Federline was, like, I know it wasn't that star, but he was such a big name, and Cena actually made him not look horrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually, I would say that Kevin Federline,
he should have won.
He got more offense in his match with John Cena than David Arquette did when he won the belt.
Probably like in David Arquette's entire WCW career, I would say.
100%.
Yeah. I was going to go with Jimmy Fallon. If Jimmy Fallon came in to WWF today and won the title from Roman Reigns. Yeah. But interesting stuff there. But I heard our boy David Arquette has had a bit of injury spat recently, where he's had to cancel a few shows around. I know he was going to be on the big Lucha Vavoom show coming up, but he had to release a thing where he sadly wasn't able to take part. I'm not sure of the exact reason, but I'm assuming maybe it's something coming out of those injury woes that we've spoken about in the past. But yeah, hope he's okay.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'm looking forward to him healing up. I hope this isn't just a little tangent he decided to do with wrestling. He's trying to follow through a little bit further. Heals up. Looking forward to maybe seeing him on one or two WrestleMania-based dates coming up here in New York. I mean, with his
we know that following the Pancakes and Pile Drivers show last year's WrestleMania, whereby at the end of the show, David Arquette came out, did a big promo, and said that he'd be back wrestling next year. So I'm pretty sure that he's already told us that he's going to be on this Pancakes and Pile Drivers
I'm just hoping that the injuries don't keep him out of it, and hope
maybe that's why he's resting up now.
Ooh, Hell of a thought. Good call. Good call.
Who knows? But yeah, we haven't seen
Oh.
anything announced for pancakes and pile drivers yet. I hope that's coming soon. I'm a little bit concerned with the. I mean, there's probably a thing a lot of people are going through who are intending on going to New York as the tickets go on sale, and yet other shows haven't even been announced yet. It's like, do I buy the tickets now? Do I wait? Do I, see what the match announcements and talent announcements are going to be? What if this one that's come out is going to sell out before this other one's even announced? Like, what do you do? It's a tough time. Fingers crossed.
My last 3 years, I'm going to do it as I have done, play it by ear, not hammer too many things in stone before I take my flight, and maybe even like react to tickets that become available through friends. I don't know. But yeah, hopefully Alicia and I will both be making it out for this, because she likes wrestling. I've never been to New York, and I think it's a great joint trip to do both wrestling as well as, destination trip, New York City. Jesus Christ.
It's the best one for a long time. I mean, I thought New Orleans was just fucking perfect and fantastic for just like the festival of wrestling that weekend was. But yeah, I mean, New York is just perfect as well. There's so much to see in New York. I hope that a lot of people that are going there just don't spend your whole time doing just wrestling shit. Like, there's some people I spoke to on previous years gone by, and they just go to the WWE Access and just all that stuff, and they don't see anything of the town other than wrestling. New York is such a great place, as we've mentioned before, so enjoy that. And then I think it was announced the next one's going to be in like Minnesota or something. Was that right?
No thanks.
I've been to Minnesota, the Twin Cities.
Minnesota.
Yes.
Jesse Ventura and Minnesota.
Have you seen the beer, on a little tangent here, the liquor shop ad that Jesse Ventura did at the height of his fame in AWA?
Oh wait, yes, where he's like actually in the liquor store. He's like, come to this liquor store. They've got such and such kegs, and like, yeah, it's so good.
I'm gonna edit that into the show right now, so everyone at home gets to enjoy Jesse Ventura in the liquor store. Please enjoy.
Beautiful.
Here we go.
Minneapolis, St. Paul, listen up. This is Jesse the Body Ventura talking to you from the Chicago Lake Liquor Store, across from Sears in Minneapolis. Where should you turkeys go to buy your beer? Chicago Lake Liquor Store. You can get the finest in domestic beer as well as imported beer. You can drink little bottles or drink it like the body does.
Chicago Lake Liquor is the #1 beer store. They buy more, so you buy for less. Save even more on 3K Special. #1, Chicago Lake Liquor.
All right, coming out of that beautiful moment, I think that do we have anything left? Let's just jump to this interview. This was a really fun time.
One thing, we did cover it at the end, but one thing before we go no further, we gotta give big ups. Gotta give big ups to my brother, one Jeffrey Cobb, for his PWG title win. A lot of speculation by our crew, when Mr. John Kraft included, about who would win Bola. No one ever put their horse on Mr. Cobb. There was speculation, sure, but no one would hit their horse.
I'm
to
surprised
Jeff.
we didn't, because it made so much sense coming out of the prior years.
I overthought
Bola and
myself.
how close he got, but yeah, I think we all came up with our own narrative, and yeah, we underrated
My narrative
our boy.
involved him that he would not be able to do it because he was part of ROH. And you know what? That's just dumb. That's me being overly analytical, snarky, smart. And you know what? I was wrong, and I'm so glad I was wrong, because not only did he win Bola, he just beat Walter for the title literally yesterday. So congratulations, Olympic
Insane.
wrestler, professional wrestling champion, one Jeffrey Cobb, dual title holder. Congrats, buddy. No one is more deserving. I'm not even saying that because I know the guy. He literally, I can't think of anybody with the credibility, let alone the actual drive to be a professional wrestling champion as one Jeff Cobb. So yes, congratulations, Jeffrey.
For real. I mean, Jeff's story of coming all the way from the Guam and going to the Olympics for Guam for the wrestling team, and then like coming over and slowly growing that success in the California scene with APW, and then just becoming a big thing, Lucha Underground, and then just blowing up all over the indies. It's just so great to see, and it's just it's great. And on the same note of when I really weirdly reacted to your bringing up of let's have Davis on the show on the last show, I'll just put you on the spot as well and say we need to have Jeff on. We need to get Jeff on as a thing in a future episode.
I'll make it happen.
Woo! I like it.
All right, ladies and germs, let's get into this interview. Chris was very nice enough to line up Mark, who took time late at night to come and talk to us.
I really underestimated how much that time difference was really... It was going to fuck somebody. Like, you could do it.
I know, I complained about it. I was the one who complained about it fucking me, and then he actually did it. I was like, oh, God, this guy's much better than I.
He took that
So
bullet.
thank you, Mr. Davis.
Yeah, so, I mean, this was quite the international affair. I mean, which is kind of what we pride ourselves on with this show. But it's like we were lining up time zones between Seattle, Brisbane, Australia, and the UK. And one of those things is not going to work out for somebody. And the lovely chap that is Mark Davis took that bullet, and I had a lot of fun in the interview that your earbuds are tingling to hear in the coming moments.
So enjoy.
Yeah, please enjoy, and yeah.
Here we go.
Yep.
Too right.
I think that's it.
Do Australians actually say too right?
I don't know.
Run them jewels fast. Run them, fuck the slow-mo.
Alright guys, we have someone that's just very close to my heart. Someone that I go back quite a ways with, and I'm like really happy with just how fucking well he's doing at the moment with all of the successful things in the UK. But more than that, this is my friend Mark Davis. Welcome to the show, Davis. How's it going, bud?
Hey, yeah, I'm good. That was a really nice intro.
Oh, thank you.
I'm smiling now.
We've been over this thing a little bit before, but for this interview, we didn't necessarily want it to be like a question answer, just an informal chat. And whether we talk about wrestling or we don't talk about wrestling at all, I'm easy either way. How are you guys?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. Welcome to the show again, as you said. Don't get me wrong, he did put you over really well, but he does say that about nearly every guest. I believe the big words for Jonah. No, just joking. But yeah, thanks for coming on, Mark. It was cool to meet you down WrestleMania weekend. Crazy night at Wale Mania. What did you think of that whole experience? I guess that's a good place to start out since that's where we met.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a lot of fun, actually. I guess we flew in like that afternoon and then we just went straight out. And then that whole night was a bit of a blur.
Mm-hmm.
But that entire weekend was like such a cool experience for like be able to take part in, especially on like the side of being flown in to like do shows and wrestle there and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Like, I was kind of the same in terms of getting in on the same day and then going out on the last trip that I did over to Bowler and hanging out with Jeremey and our other buddy John. And yeah, just like got off the flight, maybe like had a half-hour little nap to sort of get me back to life, and then just went straight into the going out and drinking stuff. And I was so fucked the next day. I mean, how were you the next day after Wale Mania?
I wasn't great. I wasn't great at all. I was a little bit fragile. And that was the day that we wrestled Tanahashi and Juice. I just remember there was one point in the morning where I just like looked over at Carl. I was like, I'm so sorry. But No, it was okay. That kind of ripped me off for like the rest of the trip though, and like I just didn't drink at all for like the rest of it. I was like, okay, I'm kind of fine.
I get that. Yeah, I didn't drink at all for the following day. No, the first day of bowler. Yeah, I just smoked, and then yeah, there was this great bit where Jeremy and I were just like really just like high and kind of not wanting to talk to the world, and we're just like sitting in our seats next to one another waiting for the show to start, and like our buddy John's like trying to introduce us to like Bandito, and we're just like too freaked out to talk to anyone. So just like sitting still, like, yeah, it was a great scene, great first impression.
Yeah, full disclosure, I went a little too hard at Bola. The first 2 nights, I think I took Molly both nights, which I had never watched a wrestling show on Molly, and I figured, hey, while in LA, let's get crazy. And so yeah, man, professional wrestling while on Molly is quite the experience. And then being so out of it because how stoned we got, yeah, it was dead to the world for a period.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, man, it's just such a trip. I'm like looking up, like, man, these lights are really fucking cool. These guys look pretty awesome. Like, it felt like such a nerd.
Yeah, I was just like transfixed with like the ornate molding on this like beautiful theater walls, and I was just staring at them so intently.
Remind me of the Muppets Theater,
Yeah.
you know, with, yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't remember like the first 3 matches, like anything of them. I think I think we saw Brooksy wrestle, and I honestly don't have any takeaways from it whatsoever.
Well, that's actually a good place to start off. Like, what do you guys think about everyone from your homeland? Like, man, Australia is fucking popping off in America and UK wrestling. Like, a lot of talent getting signed for the WWE. How did that feel as you know, people from the homeland? You know?
Yeah, it's great. It's really cool. I think as anybody who ever wrestled in Australia would probably agree with me, we've always just wanted the same access to like exposure and getting the same opportunities as the rest of the world. So it's really, really cool to see now that there's people in Australia who can like kind of just primarily stay in Australia and still make a name for themselves, even though like a lot of the guys who are getting a lot of exposure, it's through doing like a PWG or stuff like that, but a lot of them still just live in Australia. And then you have people like Robbie who's getting work with New Japan now.
So
and
good.
he's like, yeah, in the junior tag tournament. It's great to see. And a lot of those dudes are people that, you know, like Chris and I have known for over a decade. And it's just a really positive thing all around to see like people that you love and respect get the opportunities that you think that they deserve.
Yeah, for real.
And you personally, like, I think Chris told me that you decided to, you know, tired of not necessarily getting those opportunities, so you moved away and took a chance on yourself and moved to the UK. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's entirely correct. I'd had like a bad shoulder injury, so I couldn't wrestle for a couple of years. And then when I made that decision to come back to wrestling, I think it was with the mindset for myself that like if I was gonna do it, I wanted to like try and make the most out of it and do stuff properly.
Yeah.
So that's what led to that decision.
It's cool, I guess. I mean, it wasn't cool at the time, but to have something like such a big deal as that fucked shoulder injury to like, I guess, get you to reassess stuff and like reassess what you want out of wrestling, and I guess to have that opportunity to come back when you did, and I guess like the stars aligned and shit, to just be able to go at like fucking whole hog kind of deal.
Yeah, it all kind of worked out pretty well for me. I guess like within a couple months of coming back, I wrestled Marty Skrull, and then he opened up like a lot of doorways over in the UK here for me. And because my mom's side of the family are German, I had like a European passport as well. I didn't need a sort of visa or anything like that. But it definitely did force like a stronger perspective on me when I injured my shoulder to like make me want to take it a lot more serious and proper go of it.
Yeah, I mean that's what I kind of meant by like the stars just aligning. I mean, it worked out so fucking well. How long was it after, like, when you came back from the shoulder injury? Which, I mean, you were on the shelf for like, was it a year from it?
it was like 2 years. So I think I had like the last time I wrestled was like October 2014, and then my first match back was July 2016. So that's like 23 months.
Insane. And then, so
Yeah.
how far was it between when you came back to when like the Marty match happened?
That was in October, so like a few months before or something.
Yeah.
I think I wrestled like maybe like 10 matches since I've been back or something like that. Not too much.
Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, you worked Marty for Melbourne City Wrestling.
Yeah.
Was that your first date back for them?
No. My first match back actually was for like MCW in the July against Robbie Eagles and Josh Shooter in a triple threat.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, kind of like, umming and ahhing about it. I think I'd already like booked flights to go down that weekend, not even to wrestle. With I was just gonna go on like a holiday with my girlfriend at the time. And then I'd message like Mikey, the owner and like promoter of MCW, and I think a lot of it was him kind of being like, hey, like, I guess I'd like mentioned it to him or whatever, but I think if he didn't really push me to wrestle on that show, I don't know if that would have been like my first match back.
Yeah, right. Huh. That's crazy. And I guess so. Marty was the lead into the UK stuff. He said he just basically really rated you from that match and wanted to help you get those opportunities over there because he saw like they weren't happening over here, or what was the exact deal there?
Yeah, it was a bit like that. Like I wanted to move here in 2012.
Yeah, I remember that.
Years ago, yeah, and then it just like never happened for me, and then like the shoulder thing did, and then like, but yeah, I guess I messaged Marty after we wrestled, and I asked him I was just like, hey, like, if you have any advice for me going forward, I'd really appreciate it. And he just was like, no, there's like nothing to do with like the wrestling side of things, but if you want more to happen for you, wrestling's not going to come to you here, and I think you should consider moving to the UK. Because you'll have more opportunities, and if you do that, then like, I'll help you out.
Yeah, and that was like really the perfect time when everything was just starting to go crazy over there, right? Like that was sort of early-ish in the progress success, I want to say.
Yeah, it was like 6 months after that WWE UK tournament.
Yeah.
And then places like What Culture were doing like great. And there's like massive shows happening. And yeah, like that was a few months after Progress just ran like Brixton, like the massive show. Well, they ran that in like the September, and I guess Marty told me that in the October, like a month later. So yeah, it was it definitely was like a very big case of right place, right time. And then like the other thing about it too is the match probably wouldn't have even happened if it wasn't for AAA, which is a funny story, I guess.
What?
Because,
go on.
Because I was originally supposed to wrestle Australian Suicide on the Friday night of that tournament show. So I wrestled Marty's second round. And the plan for me was to like lose to Australian Suicide, and then I think wrestled Dowie on the second night, but AAA got him work with like a Lucha Underground like house show thing on that date and didn't tell him, so he had to cancel like his flights back to Australia.
I'm shocked that AAA would be that disorganized, personally.
Yeah, so if it wasn't for AAA, I guess like just not telling him.
Yeah, those fuck offs normally rarely work in anybody's favor, but this time they did kind of work in Mark's favor a little bit.
Yeah, I think, well, it helped me out a lot. I wouldn't have had that match with Marty if it wasn't for that. So thanks, AAA.
Yeah. Jeez, are you like? I mean, it's kind of like wanky and shit, but are you kind of a believer of that? You know, stuff lines up. It's like, you know, meant to be type of deal, or it's just fucking good luck.
Yeah, no, I think things will just happen when they're meant to happen, and I think things like inevitably in the end just kind of end up happening for a reason. So I do kind of believe that. Though.
Well, Well, things happen for a reason. How did you and Kyle first come together? I'm not too familiar with all the history, unfortunately. I didn't do all my research. I just wanted to keep it more casual. But yeah, how did you and Mr. Fletcher come together?
That was just another thing as well. The only time I'd met Kyle like a couple of times. So just before I injured my shoulder, I'd wrestled quite a lot for the company in Australia that he trained at, PWA. So when I met him, he was like a 14-year-old kid. And I only met him like a couple of times, and then did my shoulder and whatever. And then separate to each other, we both made the decision to move to the UK, and it just both kind of ended up happening where like we moved within like a month of each other, but it wasn't like plans that we had made with each other to be like, hey, we should both move to the UK and do this.
Yeah.
Separate plans that it just kind of like lined up. And then we wrestled at Attack Pro Wrestling on like one of their trainee shows, and the crowd really liked it. We got like a standing ovation at the end of it. That was probably like, I want to say it was in June, but it might have been July last year. I'm gonna say June actually. But yeah, anyway, we wrestled and the crowd like liked it. And then the next night was like a Fight Club Pro show, and like Chris Brooks and Travis Banks like told the promoters there, like Trent Seven and Zachy, that you should give Kyle and Davis a chance. They did real well last night, so they put us on again and like put us in the opener, and the crowd liked it again. And then like we ended up getting booked on. Well, the first time we ever teamed was on an Attack show. And then we teamed again like a month later because somebody pulled out of another show, and I got like added last second, and some matches got changed, and we ended up wrestling CCK.
Nice.
And then for that same company, they booked us again in a tag match against Pete Dunne and Trent Seven. And then just after that match, Pete was like, "Oh, you guys should just do tag team wrestling. So I think you have a good thing here that's like happened like organically. So
Yeah, for sure.
You guys should take advantage of this and see where it goes."
Yeah, that Pete Dunne seems to be a hub of good advice from what I hear.
Yeah, I think he's pretty clued into wrestling.
He's doing all right for himself right now.
So you're going on the edge of saying you're putting him over. Pete Dunne, good guy.
Yeah, Pete Dunne.
All right, cool.
I mean,
also,
go on.
congratulations on the title win. I know I'm not sure how wrestlers really feel about when they have to win a title, or if it really picks them up that much. But congratulations! I imagine it's a pretty big.
I mean,
thing.
what a moment! Like a fucking history record-setting show. Like, what a place to win those belts on that Progress big fucking Wembley show for all of our friends.
How was that environment? How'd that feel?
Yeah, it was cool. To like answer your question, yeah, it did like I mean wrestling's not real, but
Yeah.
Shit. Oh fuck, sorry. But
Don't you say that.
the emotions did feel real. Like when the 3 count happened, I was just kind of like lying in the ring, and I had like everybody like stand up and like cheer and stuff. And
Yeah, man.
I had like a little cry. I was like, oh, it feels so nice. I went and hugged Kyle. But yeah, no, it felt like real. It felt like a nice special thing too, like a really nice, like a lot of hard work had been like recognized and stuff like that.
Especially like they said, how organically it all came together. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. It's been really cool. But yeah, the show itself was amazing. Like the whole vibe, the whole feeling. Is super cool just to be like, to even just be like included in that show and to get to do stuff like that when like 2.5 years ago, well, like whatever, like when I was in Australia, I was wrestling in front of like 60 people and stuff like that. Then wrestling in front of like 4,750 people in like a featured match.
Yeah.
Winning like the Progress Tag Team Championships. It all felt, it was like, oh, okay. Like, this feels good.
Damn right.
Yeah. I mean, it's like so far different, but it's like I even I mean, from like a worker's perspective on like, you know, trash bag Australian shows, it's like the first time, you know, even like you win like a belt in a state for like some shitty Australian indie company, like that, even that, like there's sort of a bit of a special feeling for the first time. So I'm only like thinking of that compared to like the top of the hill.
Little
where you are
feather in your
now.
cap.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just feels nice, doesn't it? It feels like validation of hard work, and it just does feel nice.
Yeah, for real.
Are you still a fan? Do you still enjoy watching wrestling and taking it in, or are you just too busy living life, being a wrestler, and enjoying yourself?
Yeah, I don't watch it as much as maybe as much as I should, or as much as I wish I enjoyed watching it anymore. Like
Yeah.
I enjoy, if I'm at shows, watching them live, and it's nice because I get spoiled over here to like get to watch in person some like incredible professional wrestling.
Such a high level.
Like just last weekend, I got to watch Will Ospreay like wrestle Walter in like the most ridiculous match I've ever seen.
That's absurd.
Yeah, I got to watch like Minoru Suzuki versus Tim Thatcher. I got to watch like Ishii versus Minoru Suzuki. Yeah, I got to watch like Naito wrestle my friend Chris. Like, yeah, it's really cool. Like, so I enjoy. Yeah, I enjoy so much getting the opportunity to sit down and watch stuff like that live. But I do struggle to like sit and watch like a wrestling show on TV. But in the same sense too, I think I struggle anyways just watching like a movie. I'll look at my phone and get distracted the whole time.
I'm a little ADHD myself, a little hyperactive.
Yeah, I'm shit. I'll put a movie on and it'll finish. I'll be like, oh, I think I watched like 6 minutes of that.
Man, like the first thing that I saw when it looked like you guys were really catching on over there, at least with like some of the more high profile stuff like Rev Pro, I think there was like a match with you guys against CCK in like a cockpit show, and I remember just like seeing the way that the crowd like got behind you guys, but also like I guess how giving a dude like Travis Banks is.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it's like just been bigger and bigger, like everything on from there to now, and it's like, I mean, is your schedule still as crazy as when you showed me that that month that you had laid out, where it was like you're fucking wrestling like every 2 days or something insane like that?
Yeah, I think this weekend is the only weekend I've had off in like a few months now, and most weeks are filled with like at least 2 shows, but usually it's around like 4, and then sometimes it's 6, and then yeah, we did that like 1 month where it was like something ridiculous. It was like 17 shows in like 14 days or something like that. So the chance to get to work regularly over here is really, really cool.
It's mind blowing, like comparing that to Australian wrestling, like trying to get that kind of full of a schedule.
Yeah, it's insane. And then like because the geography of the UK is so small, it's not like America where you have to drive like 16 hours to the next show. Like I can go do a show, drive 2 hours back home, sleep in my own bed, wake up and go to the gym and like stuff like that before I need to go to the show the next day.
And all those shows being so tight knit, you probably like end up seeing the same fans almost at every single damn show. Like, I imagine like me and Chris, we travel. Well, not Chris more than me, but travel down to like LA to see shows, and I can only imagine like people just pop into every damn show within a weekend.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely see like a crossover of the same fans at every show.
Fans and dogs.
Dogs.
Yeah.
Do you still see those dogs that you posted the awesome pictures with? Or are they a bit more rare?
Which one?
I remember
Wrestling dog fans?
Yeah, like people brought their dog to some shows and you had like the pictures with them after the show.
Oh man, I'm pretty lucky actually. People like, especially like other wrestlers and stuff, will always like bring their dogs around. So I get to like meet a lot. And my favorite was like in Ireland though, like a service dog there.
Ooh.
And he was like in the crowd. I was like, oh, can I high five your dog? Like on my entrance. And I was like, oh, okay.
That's awesome.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I'm like that. Like, you show up to a party, you're like, oh, there's a dog here. Let me go hang out with this dog. He's just fucking cool.
fuck every other loser here. I'm gonna sit in the corner with this dog and pat it.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
Was that your dogs doing it running on the show earlier, Chris?
Yeah. Yep. Sure was.
They're maniacs.
They are.
Maniacs, those guys.
Yeah,
Ziggy?
we've taken them to a couple of wrestling shows over here, like when we've gone to local stuff to support our friends. I went to a show with our friend Rick Rufio, for those playing at home, really sort of big name in the Brisbane wrestling scene at the moment, doing a lot of good stuff in Adelaide and Sydney and everywhere. Yeah, we went to a show and we brought the dogs. It's like, you know, people are going to give us guff. It's like, fuck you, we're just bringing our dogs in. It's fine. And yeah, on Rick's entrance, like Courtney held Jelly's hand up for her to like high five, for Rick to high five Jelly, and he missed her. And then for the following 2 years, Courtney's made Rick feel incredibly guilty that he
Left her hanging.
faved
Left the dog
Jelly.
hanging.
Yeah.
That piece of shit.
Yep.
You also smuggled your dog into the cinema once too, though, so I don't think you really like give a fuck if people get upset about it at wrestling shows.
That's true. That was one of the most terrible decisions ever. We it was when
You took the dog in the movie?
yeah, because Jelly was like suffering separation anxiety because her dog partner had recently departed, and it was before we got Ziggy, and we had to just take her everywhere because we left her at home for like 10 minutes. She'd just start howling, separation anxiety, and so we got in this movie, and it's like the Blue Room cinema, which is like this sort of like tiny cinema, hipster thing where they sort of serve food through the movie. So honestly, it was the worst cinema to choose to try to still sneak a dog into.
Yeah, you can't like take a dog discreetly into that tiny ass cinema.
Yeah, and like constant people bringing food in and out, so you having to like hide her every time. Oh.
Please tell me the dog fucking barked and gave you guys away.
Oh well, it was more of a lead up than that. So it was like, to start with, she was like actually been really good, but there were little moments that were a bit of a giveaway. Like she'd shake her head every now and then, and like there's fucking nothing that sounds like dog ears flapping than dog ears. As you discover in a small cinema. I think everyone's like, what the fuck? That sounds like dog ears. And then she was getting a little bit antsy, so Courtney started feeding her a little bit of popcorn to like calm her down. But we didn't think the popcorn would make her really fucking thirsty because of the salt.
Salt, yeah.
So then she's like really thirsty, and Courtney's got her water, and she's like poured some water in a little cup for her to drink. And another thing that sounds nothing like a dog slurping water.
Amazing. It's like a sitcom.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Josh was with us, our other friend, and Josh like was watching this going on. And he had to like just muffle his laughs the whole time. And at one point,
a very distinct laugh too.
Yeah. There was a bit where he just couldn't take it anymore and just had to like get up, leave the cinema, and just start laughing in the hallway because it's too much for him.
That's fantastic.
And yeah, we weren't actually like discovered and kicked out by the cinema staff, but I think it was very obvious when we were walking out of the cinema. Courtney made no attempt to hide her, and I think they were just like, "What? They're walking out of the cinema with a fucking dog." And
we found it in there. It was in there for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know how.
If I had a dog in a cinema, I'd walk like up and down every aisle trying to find it. Like, this movie, man, let me pet your dog.
But the highlight of it all was after we left the cinema, and Jelly was so antsy towards the end. They got out. We got outside and we were just on the path, and then Jelly just like squats down and like pisses for like a good like 50 seconds, just like non-stop, just like giving Courtney the most intense stare. It's this dead stare. This is all I wanted, Mom. I've been holding this in for so long.
Don't you break eye contact.
Oh shit.
Yeah, the story of Jelly in the cinema. Courtney's dad still guilts her on that sometimes. Like, we'll have different stuff where like Courtney will like be giving him shit, and they were like, "Oh, this coming from the girl that snuck a jog into a cinema."
That's not even that bad of a thing to do.
Right?
Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
I always laugh. Yeah.
All right, let me ask a question that everyone's wondering. What was the movie?
Ant-Man, the first one.
What?
Yeah.
That makes the story even better. It's like Ant-Man.
It was actually quite good. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all of the moments that Jelly decided to be a fucking asshole were during, like, there were, I mean, it was like funny movie, but then there were like some moments of like quiet drama. I can't even remember what they were, but they were the moments when Jelly would like shake her ears and stuff. It's quite good. Good film. I haven't watched the second one yet. Has anyone seen the second Ant-Man?
I have not.
Yeah, I don't think anyone saw the second Ant-Man. So it had the girl from Lost, that Evangeline Lilly, maybe.
I'll take your word for it, brother.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you see, in like this crazy wrestler life, do you go to the movies and do like normal stuff like that frequently, or is it just like so busy the way you really don't go out that much unless you're actually wrestling or drinking?
Probably at the club.
Yeah.
No, I do like quite regular things, like quite a lot. I go on like dates and stuff, and then I hang out with Trent Seven a lot, and like, that's kind of like all we do. Like we'll go play basketball, or we'll go for like a hike or something. I'm kind of like a person who needs that stuff though. Like I think if I was just surrounded by wrestling all the time, I'd get a little bit like
stir crazy.
Maybe, yeah, stir crazy. Maybe like negative towards it. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's like that healthy to just like have that one thing in your life and then that's all you have. So
Yeah,
I've always tried that.
I get that
How's
vibe.
dating in the UK when you're a professional wrestler? Like, I imagine being just a regular independent wrestler, not working for Progress, it might be a little bit harder. But once you're on pay-per-view or pay-per-view pretty weak and working in Wembley, the ladies must line up.
Oh, lucky me. Nah. Oh no, I don't know how to answer this. Nah, I'm like
How do you
seeing
bring up,
someone.
like, I'm a professional wrestler. Most ladies will be like, say what?
No, I don't know. I don't know how to answer this.
I don't know how I would
Let's-
answer it.
let's move on.
Yeah, I was seeing someone for like a few months, and then like that ended, and now I'm like seeing someone else. So like,
All right, good deal.
but
So you meet very nice young ladies. That's all we need to say. All right, cool. Moving on.
yeah, let's go for it. So I don't know how to answer
That's bizarre. Let's just fucking lull on this for like the next 40 minutes on Davis's fucking
I can just
personal life.
women when you meet at anything, like I work in data entry and I meet a woman, I'm like, I work in data entry. I can only imagine what her reaction is when I wrestle professionally when you're trying to chat a girl up. So that was the reason for my question, really. But we can certainly move on.
I
used
see.
to- yeah, I don't know. I guess sometimes.
What were you gonna say?
No, nothing. We'll see.
No, please. Hardly anybody listens to it. You're fine.
Next question.
Yeah, let's
Yes, sir.
proceed. It's good to hear that you still get to do the hikes and stuff, because I remember that used to be like a big thing when you were living here. Like you'd always do the.
Yeah.
I mean, is there as many like cool kind of hiking spots over there?
Nah. Nah, there's not.
We went from one question that goes absolutely nowhere to another question that goes absolutely nowhere.
It is shit.
Nah,
Nope.
I'm like, there is nice spots over here, but I guess like I don't really get the chance to do them that often, because usually it'll just be like a day that I have free, so we'll just go somewhere that's like close.
Yeah.
But there is like a couple nice spots here. Like the girl that I'm like seeing at the moment, she took me to one like recently that was like real cool. It was like horses and stuff everywhere and like sheep everywhere. It was like really cool.
Ooh. Nice.
Yeah.
Do
Super close. kept trying to pat one, but they kept running away.
Have you done much like that in Ireland? Because do you get bookings over there much?
Yeah, we get booked quite regularly over there, but a lot of it is so like time restrictive. Like we don't actually get a chance to really see or do anything in any place, unless like it's for some reason, like say they have like a couple of shows, so like a month, like a weekend, then you'll get like a free day. But usually it just consists of like waking up, maybe getting time to go to the gym, but just getting a train to the airport, getting a flight, going to the show, wrestling, coming back, sleeping, and then like flying back usually like super early the next day. So all we really ever see is like the inside of the venue.
And the very
Hard to fit
pretty
in a
train
hike there.
stations and stuff.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like when you think about the international travel bit of it, and like Jonah was telling me the same thing of like when he'll have the PWG dates. It's like such a fucking long flight. To think that you're doing that for like having maybe like 2 or 3 days over there to work a show and then like come back home before you practically get to see anything. Like I guess that's just wrestler life, right?
Yeah, this just is what it is. And I think like the travel, more like a lot of the time, will make me feel more sore than any of the wrestling does. We're lucky over here too. Like a flight to Ireland is like 45 minutes, 90 minutes to Germany. Like stuff isn't that far here, and I live like a 30-minute train ride from the airport, so I'm in a very good position.
It's pretty great. So like Germany, that you would do that flying rather than train?
Yeah, well, like the drive there from where I live is 12 hours. So it ends up being a lot more expensive to drive because fuel over here is like £1.40 a litre. It's like $2, like 70 Australian a litre.
Shit.
For our American viewers, what is that in gallons?
Fuck, I don't know.
I was joking. Don't worry about it now. Let's do some conversion here.
Let's Google this shit.
Me and Chris, like, we always cover some sort of conversion in our show.
There's
Is it usually just Australian to US?
No, I was joking.
Oh, okay.
We do like have a lot of still like I thought we'd work our way out of this, but we still have a lot of like stuff that's just lost in translation from the Australian normalisms to, you know, like US stuff.
Yeah.
Like even this,
I go out of my way to point it out as well.
yeah,
Make sure.
yep, indeed. And then there's stuff that I'm just like amazed that it's the same, like margarine. That got me last episode. I was like, what? You guys have margarine?
Hell yeah, we got margarine, man.
Hey, they got it here too, brother.
Wow, this crazy world.
I still haven't cracked open my Vegemite. It's sitting here right in front of me.
You fuck.
I went to go buy sourdough and I totally forgot. But no, it'll make it happen. I'll film it and I'll send it to you, sir.
I'd appreciate that.
You and Courtney will enjoy me enjoying Vegemites.
Yeah.
Just dip a teaspoon in it right now.
A teaspoon of it.
Yeah, just dip a teaspoon in it and have a whole teaspoon in it.
Ah, see, this is that.
He told me that's the worst way to go. He's like, if I do that, I'm just gonna hate it.
Well, if this is like coming back to the Vegemite heroin addiction thing that we're talking about, to where it's like us Australians are just so like fucking in deep that we can just pretty much inject it into our veins. Where it's like if you guys did a teaspoon of it, I think you'd just be like, what the fuck have you just put in my mouth?
Walk in, Chris is cooking it on a spoon.
Yeah, that's how you have your Vegemite teaspoon. Heat it up.
I am quite partial to teaspoons of like crunchy peanut butter dipped in honey. Like that's pretty delightful.
That's good.
Yeah.
Are you a crunchy or creamy guy, Chris?
Crunchy all the way.
Mark? Crunchy? Yep. Confirmed. You know what? We got to get t-shirts. The Crunchy Club. Let's do it.
And if there are any listeners at home that are like, no, fucking
Creamy all the way?
you
Fuck
guys
y'all.
can go get fucked.
It's black or white around here.
Yeah, I like the idea that we lose like 40% of our listeners because we've offended them because
You
they're
piss off
creamy.
peanut butter.
Yeah, smooth. Excellent.
I haven't looked at the schedules and stuff much. Does Progress already have a book? I imagine so. Something up in New York for WrestleMania weekend?
I don't think
they're
anything's
not
been announced yet.
I saw some loose, like, basic breakdown of what people think is going on. I could have sworn the name on there. Have you been to New York City, Mr. Davis?
I've been for like 2 separate days, not for like anything to do with wrestling, just for like being a tourist.
Was that
Sure.
back in the day when you went over to do the Shikara training with Ash?
Yeah. So I went once in 2008, and then we had to stop over on the way back after New Orleans.
So you got to train with Quackenbush.
Yeah, I got to train with Quackenbush, Cesaro, and Sarah Del Rey.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was very fortunate. I went August 2008, so it was like the month, like it was like a week after I turned 18. We went there, wrestled for PWG, as like a fat, awkward 18-year-old.
Didn't you work like Top Gun Telwar or someone?
Yeah. No. It was Hook Bomberry and TJ Perkins in a tag match.
So nuts.
Yeah, and then flew to Philly and trained at Shikara for a few months.
That's pretty awesome.
Like,
yeah, it's cool as shit.
Yeah, thinking like where all those people are now. Like, that's crazy that you got to train with those dudes in that scene. I mean, it's cool to see, like Quack still doing his thing with the school. Sarah Del Rey and the head of all of the important things in women's wrestling in the WWE, and obviously Cesaro doing real well as well.
Quackenbush is still a freaking amazed. Like he was on that show WrestleMania weekend. Like seriously, one of the most seamless, fluid guys to ever work, and he still is. He's
still such a high level. Yeah, we got to see him and David Starr. That was a real good match. I almost forgot how good that was.
Oh, it was great.
I got to watch him versus Johnny Kidd in Wolverhampton.
Oh, cool.
Trios weekend.
Dude, I love Johnny Kidd.
Yeah, he's cool. He's really nice.
Bet he would be. So he was like retiring soon, or has he already retired?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Speculation on the career of Johnny Kidd. Yeah.
All right, I want to ask the stupid Mark question that's spring to mind. Where does the name of the finish came? It's one of the coolest names for a fucking wrestling move. Close your eyes and say fuck or whatever. Like count to fuck. Yes. Where do you come up with something like that? That's fucking awesome.
Oh, I just ripped it off of Run the Jewels song. Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't think about that. Damn it, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Oh my
God. That's what.
Yes.
That's what I come out to a lot.
Yeah. No shit. Maybe too many beers this time.
It was again because I'm very uncreative. It wasn't even me who came up with that name.
Well, at least you're honest enough to admit that shit. That's cool.
Yeah. It was a discussion, I guess, at Progress the first time we wrestled there. The first chapter show we did, Jim was like talking to me about it. He's like, "Oh, you need like a name for that pile driver, because we want you to win with it tonight."
Jim Smallman.
Like, I don't really know. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And Chris was there. He's like, "Oh, why don't you just call it this?" And I was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." And Jim was like, "Yeah, let's do that." So then, that was it. So thanks, Chris. Thanks, Jim.
Chris Brooks, yeah.
Much more simple story than I should have done.
Yeah, Chris Brooks.
Yeah. Jonah's best friend, apparently.
Oh, Chris is lovely. Brooks is lovely. Yeah. Now he's a dude who I think creatively is very, very has influenced me a lot, and like his ideas and the way that he views wrestling, I think is very, very good.
Yeah. Really. Another like real fluid kind of guy. And yeah, like his sort of humor and personality that he sort of puts into a match, I really rate.
Yeah, he's great.
Speaking of the humor and personality, we had spoke while during Bola to maybe say hello to Walter and pass off a gift. And when I did so, he was like, "Oh, thank you." It was like, it just like was so awkward. Like, and then I got kind of heat from Chris and John because I didn't wait for them to do it all together. But I felt like 3 guys walking up to one gentleman to hand him one thing seemed a bit much. But he seemed very appreciative. Did he partake?
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
All right, good.
Walter's, he everything you told me about Walter's personality kind of thing. Like just meeting him in like a minute-long conversation that I had with him was like everything you said just like shone through immediately in just his weird. I assume it's like a German thing, but I don't know. Just like such a funny, interesting, like sort of polite but
Very formal,
standoffish kind of
polite
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. He's funny. Well, he's Austrian, so I think like he actually has like a little bit of a different sense of humor to a lot of the Germans. But yeah, he's funny. When I wrestled him at Progress, I came backstage, my chest was like black from him chopping me.
Oh man,
like
if
bleeding.
anyone hasn't
Yeah,
seen the
like,
picture of that, you need to fucking
Gnarly.
see it. It's probably
Yeah.
it went like viral on Twitter, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Like,
What did he say when he came back?
oh yeah, so I was like, I was fucked too. Like he beat the shit out of me. I'm pretty sure I was like concussed, but yeah. So like I came back and like my chest was like all black and I was like bleeding and stuff. And he's just like, "You got weak skin?" I was like, "No, you beat me up."
What fucking salt in the wound? Like he's just chopped the fucking shit out of you, and then he's like, "Oh, weak skin."
Yeah, dude.
You got it pretty good at that one match. We just watched the match from Fight or Flight, and you lit him up pretty good too on that one.
Yeah, you got him
Oh, yeah.
bleeding.
Yeah, I got him back. I was like, I remember looking over at one point. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I can take that. Yeah, he's still. I think he still won. I came back, my chest was like all purple again.
Oh man, yeah, his one's on you in the corner, where he just like it was almost like the hardest like repeat machine gun chops that I mean, every chop's like the fucking hardest that you see, but
He
still.
throws like the fifth through the chest, dude. Like like he's hitting you in your vertebrae, not your chest. He's going to your vertebrae.
Yeah, I asked him how he chops so hard, and he said he just like aims past people.
Yeah.
He's just trying to hit like through you.
I
But
like
he's
your
great.
chop and clothesline combination, by the way. Like that's not a lot of guys do that. Like it seems so obvious now, but yeah, that's a great concept.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
like
like-
that match as a whole. It was real cool. That fucking power bombs, the power bomb exchange, just
Yeah.
so nuts to see. Just
Yeah, that was just a great wrestling match.
yeah,
Oh, thanks, guys. Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I was quite proud of that one. I liked it.
I was telling Jeremy the thing of, I don't know if it's like a thing anymore, but like that UK chant of like, you familiar with it? Like the Big Lads Wrestling one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of
My favorite
thing.
chance.
Yeah, and
Oh,
this
okay.
match was
Yeah, I've got it
definitely
a few
big match,
times.
Big Lads Wrestling.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. He's great, man. Like his brain, I'd say like it's him and like Pete Dunne are like the two smartest people I've ever met when it comes to like professional wrestling. They just like know so much, and they're so like clued into like everything. It's crazy. Like every time I talk to him or he like talks to me about stuff, I always learn something.
Mm. And like I guess
They always say the greatest guys though are the guys who can work, where it looks like they're killing you, but it's not. But Walter's killing you, so where's that argument? Just kidding, of course.
But no, I think that's just his mentality towards wrestling too. Though.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's how he like thinks wrestling should be, and I don't disagree with him. I mean, look at everything he's done, and like, yeah. But yeah,
he's on the cusp. He's right there. Like something's breaking soon. So yeah.
Yeah, he's doing so good. Yeah, I was gonna say like just the sort of contrast between two dudes like a Pete Dunne and a Walter, and both being very, very smart when it comes to that stuff, but obviously like different approaches to, I guess, match layouts and sort of psychology, and again like the physicality side of it. Like I don't know. I think the coolest thing about wrestling now is just the variety like that.
Yeah, the diversity.
Mm.
Yeah, I think so too. It's great. It's great to see like so many people making a lot of success in their own versions of what they think wrestling should be.
Yeah.
It's cool that dudes get the opportunity to do that, to like make a living off it.
Yeah, for real. And like the fans are open and accepting and encouraging of that as well. It's like they'll like a lot of these PWG shows that we've been to. It's like you'll see them, go nuts for crazy high spot kind of indie match that you imagine that they would, but then go nuts in a complete separate way on like a Walter or a Thatcher, just like awesome display of like grappling and fucking chopping the shit out of one another, and it's great too.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
it's really cool. I think like the biggest way to like take a look at, and like this is just like towards the UK scene, but like at how people can just like accept different styles of wrestling in every capacity is the fact that like the same week that we did that Wembley show in front of like nearly 5,000 fans, on the Tuesday night we did a show in like a comedy club in Manchester in front of like 180 people, and it was like the most ridiculous thing I'd ever done.
Is that the one where you had like the cop outfit with the sweet short shorts?
Yeah, I was like a fake cop. I was teaming with Damien Dunn, who like does like the no fun police gimmick, and I wrestled against Chris and Kyle, and they were just like decided to recreate Reservoir Dogs and scenes from Reservoir Dogs. So at one point, like that Stuck in the Middle song like came on, and Chris tied Damo up in the ropes and like fake cut his ear off and like fake blood everywhere. And, like the crowd was like insanely behind it. It's really fucking cool. And then like 5 days later, we wrestled in front of 5,000 people, like doing like normal, like serious professional wrestling, and they accept it all the same.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's why wrestling is my favorite art form. Like pretty much every other Friday, I go to this place up here called 321 Battle, which has some great wrestling, but also some of the most ridiculous, just pure entertainment wrestling you ever seen in your life. And I've
very
gone
much like
into
hipster
PWG.
wrestling.
Yeah, it's hipster and like almost performance art at points, but it's the best time. I've had sometimes more fun at a 3-2-1 show just enjoying myself than sitting there overanalyzing every fucking wrestling move at a PWG show. But yeah, I love how eclectic wrestling can be. You can literally one day be wrestling, like you said, in front of 5,000 people, and then doing parodies of Reservoir Dogs the next night. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's great. It's the best.
It's almost like a testament to like whatever you're doing, whether it's like crazy comedy or like, hard-nosed wrestling or like high spot stuff or a combination of any of it. Like as long as you're actually committing to whatever that is 100%, the crowd will be with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think so too.
Do you find a difference that you still work a lot of the more family kind of shows that I used to hear about in the UK scene with like the what they call it, like the fairs and stuff?
Yeah, like the camp.
Yeah.
Nah, we're in like a fortunate position where like they run the camps through the summer season, so it's like just coming into like autumn and winter now. But we're so lucky that we are like quite busy with so many other shows that we haven't done any like camps yet. So like we don't really find ourselves doing, I guess, like quote unquote family shows that often anymore. A lot of our stuff is like, I guess, a lot more adult and like grown up wrestling. But then too, like I guess like Progress's age limit is like 14. Same with places like Fight Club Pro. And then Attack Pro Wrestling in its own world is like family fun, friendly entertainment. But they get like mostly older crowds in. But yeah, there's not a lot of like the whole like boo yay, shall I hit him? Like 10 punch in the corner. Like duck 2 clotheslines, hit me with one. That sort of like I don't know, I guess it feels like archaic. It feels like wrestling has evolved past that, even though it does like have its point. And it's like function in wrestling. And I'm pretty grateful for that fact too, because I don't really like enjoy that as much as I do.
I mean, that's
So
like
you didn't have to worry about those tribute shows where everyone was wrestling as a tribute. Like, did you ever wrestle as tribute Kane, Mark?
No, but I would love that so much. Like, I'd love that.
Kane
like,
chopping people, uppercut. Dude.
Fuck. Like adjust the glove, wriggle those fingers.
Oh Lord, that'd be the best.
Choke slam. Yeah, maybe Maybe in the Changa, I don't know if they do them anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think they've done tribute shows since like the 90s. But at the same time, it's weird
Well,
that
not
it's
those
gone
close-
like full
close to
circle
the-
in a way. Like those tribute shows used to be like the biggest thing for UK dudes before everything got way better. But now it's like almost like the what's that like Japanese dress ups sort of thing. It's like people get way too into
Kaiju Big Battle?
cosplaying. Cosplaying is what I'm going for.
Oh,
And it's almost like you see a lot of dudes like on themed shows or whatever, like almost doing like the cosplay thing where they're like wrestling as someone else, but it's like in a clever sort of, I don't know, more meta way, and it's still like over. It's almost like the same thing in a weird way.
Yeah, I guess it's like the same realm.
Yeah. On that note, I cannot say enough good things about that gimmick that you guys did for the Progress 70s themed show, where you guys were like Aussie Rangers.
or
Or
whatever.
please explain it. Like draw a picture for people at home of this amazing scene.
Oh, what do you want? Like what we were wearing, or like
Just like sort of, I
Let's
guess
say
how
it
you
slowly.
how you
Say it slowly.
approached it, and how you guys came up with this thing, and then just the way it ended up playing out, and how everyone just fucking loved it so much.
Oh yeah, I was buzzing for it. So they did like the 1970s theme thing, and I was like, "Oh, Jim, like, what do you want for this?" And he was like, "I don't know, just like have fun with it." So I was like, "Oh, okay, like let's just do like stereotypical Australian like outback men." So so we did like we were called the Billabong Boys. Yeah, we came out to Old Man Emu by John Williamson. Is that his name? I don't know.
Where did you
But
find
we
that
just-
song? I had not heard it in my
Literally.
life.
Literally, I googled 1970s Australian music. and I was like-
Amazing. It's like the most straightforward way to do it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's the first thing I clicked on Spotify. I was like, "Oh, this is a great song title." And I listened to it once, and I was like, "Oh my fucking god, this is the best song I've ever heard." And then and I wouldn't tell Carl what we were coming out to.
Oh, that's
Like,
awesome.
What is it? Like, no, we hear it for the first time when we come out. And they're like, yeah, I loved it. That was so much fun. We wrestled in like little short shorts, like little chino short shorts, and, like with the top and like the dumb, like stereotypical like Crocodile Dundee hat. Carl had a fake mustache, and I shaved in like a mustache. It was awesome. It was a really good time.
Kyle looked like
Kinda
he
like-
was having the greatest time in the history of the world when he was like doing his little march around the ring and stuff.
Yeah, he fucking loves it. Like usually I come out like high fiving people real hard, but I was just shaking people's hands like overly enthusiastically. Yeah, the fuck are you, mate? Yeah,
Nice to meet you, Cobber.
yeah. Carl got on the mic and he's like, "We're not here to fuck spiders," and absolutely nobody like almost got the reference because it's the most abstract Australian saying in the world.
Are you familiar with this at all, Jeremy? The not here to fuck spiders
that's-
thing?
No, please go. Illuminate me, sir.
I don't even know where it
I
came
mean-
from. But
Yeah, but I've heard it. Yeah, I heard it quite a lot over my years, but it is what you'd imagine it means.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you just here for the one thing, and that's all, and that's not to fuck spiders.
Yeah.
Did you wear those always the stereotypical cliche Australian hat we saw in America was the one where it was a regular flat brim on one side, but the other side was tilted up and kind of tied to the side of the hat. You know what I'm
it
talking about?
was- Yeah, I know what you're talking about,
Yeah.
but no, this boy had like a double curve, and then it just had like a strap around it with like crocodile teeth in it.
Oh, actual teeth
Yeah.
on it. Awesome.
Yeah, I also thought about just getting like an Akubra with like the strings and the cork.
Oh.
Through it, but I just didn't end up doing that, did I?
I feel like
Paul
that would
Hogan
have
is a
been.
national hero, right?
This is true. We all look up to
Yeah,
Paul
okay.
Hogan.
I was just making sure. That's what we assume over here. Just letting you know.
Anytime I've ever had an American person apologize for like, bringing up Crocodile Dundee, I'm like, fuck no.
Oh,
He's
God.
like a hero of ours.
Yeah, just totally amp it up. Like, no, please go on. We love to talk about Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah.
I really need to watch back the first movie. I had such good memories of that. And just like the cheesy humor of it. So perfect.
Yeah.
Dude, those movies back in the day were they weren't trying to write a good story. They just tried to entertain motherfuckers for an hour and a half. So, yeah, that shit was fun.
Yeah. On the same note, Davis, have you seen Reckless Kelly?
No.
I love that movie.
So good. It's like
With Yahoo
yeah,
Serious?
Yahoo Serious, and he's like, it's like a sort of weird story of
Ed
Ned
Kelly.
Kelly, but if he was like standing up for his Cobber Aussie bar thing that the man wants to shut down.
He's like riding a motorcycle, and it's ridiculous.
This sounds like vaguely familiar, to be honest.
It's almost
don't know
like
if I've,
semi Mad Max type of thing, and then he like goes to
Yeah.
Hollywood and becomes a big star over there, but then has to come home and bring his earnings to try to save his Aussie bar. It's pretty fucking great.
There was a good period of time where America was obsessed with everything Australian, like consistently. That's
Yeah.
why Yahoo Serious had a career in America.
I didn't even
literally.
know he had a career in America.
Yeah, they did young Einstein
Oh
too,
yeah,
as well.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
familiar
that
with
was
that.
good.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's great, dude.
Wow, we have got off on quite a tangent.
I'm perfectly happy to do so. I think people have come to
Yes, sir.
expect it from us. I get more good feedback when we just like ramble about nonsensical shit than I ever do about when we're actually seriously talking about wrestling.
Yeah, because when we're talking wrestling, especially when it's just wrestling news, it's literally just the same stories repeated by every fucking podcast.
Yeah, that's true. We're not very original in that way.
So, what are your immediate goals, Mr. Davis? It just, riding high on Progress Championship Gold, or you guys looking to make your way more in the States, reaching out to anybody else, or waiting for calls? Or
I mean, the Rev Pro
what is
stuff's gone
Aussie Open
fucking
doing?
great at the moment too, man.
Rev Pro's amazing as well. Yeah,
I saw that
Describe
latest announcement for what you guys are challenging Zach and Minoru Suzuki for the tag straps in Rev Pro.
Yeah. In a few weeks, that's on November 9th at York Hall.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's gonna be fucking. That's insane. That's a crazy thing to think about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super excited for that.
Have you done anything else with Zach so far?
I wrestled him in a tag match for Fight Club earlier this year.
Okay.
Against him and Angelico.
Zach needs to talk to Danny, get you guys over for DDT 4.
I've spoken not like through people, and I guess that's probably like one of our next hopeful goals is to make our way there. Hopefully we'll get used there soon, and then like I guess Carl and I have now just ended up with the same goals. We've stopped setting like individual goals and are just like working towards making this a thing. And our other big one is to like end up in New Japan soon at some point.
Nice.
So, I think at this moment it's just about like keep doing what we're doing and do the best we can and keep enjoying it because things are happening for us, and I think the energy that you put out and like that's what you get back in.
100%.
So, as long as we keep having fun with it, like I think things will just keep happening for us.
Yeah, for real. I mean, just the role of momentum that it's been, and it's just like just something else like bigger than the last thing. Like it's just gonna keep going like that. And yeah, I can't wait to see like you guys. I know you definitely will break into the US indie scene and do really well there. But I don't know. I'm just really happy with all of it. Hey.
Yeah, well, the next like coolest, like the most insane thing that we have next is wrestling in Japan for Fight Club because they're running a show.
Yeah, that Korakuen one, right?
Yeah, like the Monday after Wrestle Kingdom.
Dude,
That's awesome.
So
that'll be
that's
so
gonna
good.
Fucking wild.
I was actually almost going to be going over for that Wrestle Kingdom. So I would have been able to be there for the show. But instead I decided on, just because flights were really fucked to get to Japan around that New Year's time. And it was actually cheaper for us to go to New York instead. So that's what we did. We're doing Mania weekend.
Oh, that's kind of sick.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun
Mm.
shows. I'll be interested if something falls into place and we may see you over there. Who knows?
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see. Like, we don't have anything set in stone yet, but I don't know. I'm pretty optimistic that stuff will probably open up for us around that time. So hopefully we will be over there again this year for Mania weekend.
Sounds like there are
It was
going to
a
be
blast last
a
time.
fuck ton of shows during the time
Yeah.
that need wrestlers.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, I'm personally just really excited to be going back to New York itself. Like, there's so many places I haven't been to New York, like Queens and Harlem, and just I don't know.
Yeah, I want to go to all those places too. All I've really done is like the touristy bullshit of like Times Square and stuff like that.
Yeah. First time I went over was exactly like that, and like doing all of the tourist pass spots. But then last time I went over there, I just like spent a week hanging out in like Brooklyn and Williamsburg and stuff, and just
Hello.
Hello.
All of a sudden you were gone. I spent a week, and then I heard silence. So I thought everything got cut off. I apologize.
Oh no, you're probably right. Maybe it did. But yeah, I was just putting over how good Williamsburg and Brooklyn are, and just like those neighborhood spots more so than doing the tourist stuff per se.
Yeah, when I come out there, buddy, we need to avoid any tourist traps. Go and enjoy actual culture of the city. That sounds amazing to me.
Indeed, if any of that is possible during all of the 10 fucking million wrestling shows that'll be happening between Thursday and Sunday.
We don't have to hit every wrestling show. We can try to make it about the experience, my friend.
Yeah. Well, I just got my tickets. I'm very happy about that. I went to a travel expo this morning. And yeah, locked the tickets in. So I get in on early the Monday morning, and I'm there through the following Monday. So that should be fun.
Wow. You're going to be dead by Monday.
Probably. Yeah. I am quite maniacal about when I travel, I'm like, I don't need sleep. I can just keep on going. And that was the story of New Orleans this past year. And then
I'll try to find out some cocaine laced with Advil this time.
Excellent. That'd be delightful. Much appreciated. I like how we've gradually just devolved into totally being okay to talk about our drug use on this show.
No, my drug use.
Oh.
Nobody else.
Okay.
Yeah. Be clear.
Yes, just the hosts. Yeah, man. Well, this has been a fucking delightful chat. I mean, I don't want to give the wrap up too early if there's anything else you wanted to hear, or it's just been nice talking to you. I haven't talked to you like this since like we were actually in New Orleans together.
Yeah, it's been really nice. I guess I don't really get the chance. Well, I don't know if it's not the chance, but I guess I don't like sit down and make the time as much as I should to like call people from back home. It's usually just always over message, isn't it? Like, so it's been real good to just get to talk to you dudes.
Yeah, same man. Yeah, I'm like
Appreciate it,
honestly the worst in terms of actually doing that as well. And most of the time I miss out on all of those group chat calls. One time I'll endeavor to be available. But yeah, in lieu of that, this has been awesome. This is like my favorite thing about this show, honestly. Like in a completely selfish way, just getting to talk to my friends.
You and Jonah. Yeah, you and Jonah. At least I was more involved in this chat a little bit.
Yeah.
Last time we had Jonah on, it was just him and Chris like reminiscing the entire time. Like it felt like I like Chris and I like Jonah, so it was an interesting question or discussion to be a part of. But
Be a fly on the wall.
Next time we'll invite one of my American. We're gonna get Jeff on the show.
Yeah.
And me and Jeff will just talk about all. I don't know much. Never mind.
No, well,
Oh,
Jeff
speaking of which,
is like
congratulations
the
to
fucking
Cobb, by the way.
nicest dude in the world, so I'm sure he would make me feel at home during said chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jeff's lovely.
I was so happy to
It's a
see
lot.
he fucking won bowler. Like, we weren't expecting it at all. And then, such a nice surprise. And then he's got another big win that we'll have to congratulate him on from yesterday.
Indeed.
PWG World Champion.
Can't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can. It was my throw out when we first discussed Bola, but I assumed based off maybe some ROH contract stipulations, he was going to win the title, but I guess that's not the case. I was being an overly enthusiastic wrestling fan, assuming things that I know better than I do not.
Yeah, those surprises are always nice, and especially when you like know how much of a nice, like, good person they are to be getting that success as well. I guess that's what takes you so far in wrestling. Hey, like when people are like, hey, you are competent at what you do, and personally you're not a piece of shit, so I'm going to try to, you know.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a helpful, a helpful attitude, and people always want to help people that they like.
Yeah.
Well, we
I like
appreciate
it.
you helping us by joining us on this show. It's probably like 3 in the morning there
Yeah,
now, so we should
fuck.
probably let you get some rest, huh?
Yeah, it's like 3:30.
All right,
Fuck me.
I appreciate you being on the show, Mr.
Hey, thanks for
Dunkzilla
having
Mark
me.
Davis.
Yeah, thanks,
Thanks,
man.
dude. It was really nice.
Where can
Yeah.
people buy merch from you and follow you and do all of those things? Because you were awesome
Plug
at the
away,
Twitter.
sir.
What?
I was saying you do awesome on the Twitter, stealing
Oh,
no, what's David Starr's
Okay.
thing? You're really good at Twitter. There you go.
oh, thanks.
Mm.
My dumb tweets. I've always just posted dumb shit on social media though, and now people like follow me. My broadcast list for my stupid thoughts is bigger. It's really nice.
Yeah.
But my Twitter's at Dunkzilla Davis. That's the same as my Instagram, and then I don't know if you want to buy stuff we release merch in batches, and we always like tweet about it. So
Dude, you have awesome merch. I love that that like Godzilla themed tee that you came out with recently.
oh, thanks. I like that one too. I'm doing them on white long sleeves with like a pale pink print for like next weekend, and I'm excited selfishly to get them just so I can wear one.
It's beautiful. Yeah, Jeremey does like tee designs for a lot of the workers in the States.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess like both of us are kind of like can see when dudes have
Yeah,
like
really.
quality stuff.
Yeah, well, I can always respect good merch.
Yeah. It's always nice. Like when you like see a wrestling T-shirt and you're like, oh, like I think I'd wear that outside of like a wrestling capacity.
Yeah.
100%.
Well,
It's
my
the dream
position.
of every wrestling fan. Like, oh, that shirt is not embarrassing to wear in public. Excellent.
Yeah.
Can I?
All right,
Can
man,
you
we'll
give
have
a
it
shout
discussed,
out
but-
to who
Oh.
was the artist that did that Godzilla themed one? Is that something you'd be happy to
Good call.
pimp?
Oh yeah. His name's Brett Jones on Twitter. He's at EWF81. He's fantastic. He's done a lot
Oh
of.
yeah, he did the Riptide stuff, right?
Yeah, Riptide wrestling stuff. Yeah, he's really, really good. He's a super nice dude and is like easy to work with. He's great. We've used him a fair bit lately. For,
Yeah.
like the Aussie Open stuff.
So great.
Right on,
Awesome,
Brett.
man. Well,
Alright.
on that note, buddy, thanks so much for doing the show, and let's hopefully do this again before too long. And yeah, I look forward to catching up with you in person before too long as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Maybe we'll get to like sit down and actually do one in person or something next time.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, be rad.
All
All
right,
right,
well,
Mark. Appreciate it, buddy.
thanks, dudes. Love you.
Thanks again, man. I love you.
Bye.
Bye. All right.
So much love going around.
Yeah. Nice.
Beautiful thing, buddy. Nice chat with Mr. Mark Davis, aka Dunkzilla. I wanted to ask him where the nickname came from. Do you know where Dunkzilla comes from?
That probably would have been a good one to ask, but as far as I know, like he's a bit into his basketball stuff, and like before he left, him
okay.
and my buddy Josh were on this like local, like community level sort of team.
Pretty
and,
straightforward then.
Yeah, and they went really well, and they went to the finals and everything. So I assume it's just because of his actual mad dunks.
Dang. Right on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was
All right,
nice.
should we-
It was we talked about more wrestling than I thought we would.
Well, I think it was a nice ginger conversation about wrestling. We didn't follow his career step by step. Talked about our opinions on wrestling, something we like. So I mean, a good discussion for a wrestling-based podcast, right?
Yeah, for real. I liked it. We got some talk about Vegemite in there. What more could you ask for? Crocodile Dundee.
I'll stop bringing up these stupid American Australian cliches if you want. Is that what you're trying to hint at here?
No,
Vince?
I'm trying to encourage more. Fuck. Please.
How about those shrimps on the Barbie? How does that go about?
I'm glad you brought it up, my friend, because I, in my travels to your land, have actually seen way more utilization of shrimps. We call them prawns in Australia. In a more of a variety of food than we get over here. Like, I mean, we'll have shrimps on the Barbie, as you've mentioned. We'll have, maybe we do have a lot of, like Thai food, Vietnamese food, where you'll have shrimp in that, shrimp salad, things like that. Maybe some pastas.
I'm fanatical about shrimp. I'm a seafood fiend, buddy. So
me too.
Yeah, if you bring shrimp to the table, I'm all about it.
My mind was blown by how much variety and how well they do shrimp in New Orleans. That Cajun shrimp utilization, fuck me, it's the best.
Oh, yes.
It's almost like that scene out of Forrest Gump where the dude's talking about all of his favorite
Bubba Gump.
Yeah, all of his favorite ways of having shrimp, and he just goes on and on and on. It's like, yep, that's it.
Yeah, I would join you for every one of these things you're describing, Mr. Bubba Gump. Please continue.
Shrimp and grits was my favorite, though. Of all of the good stuff with prawns, as we have in Australia, I don't think anything has touched like just the perfect shrimp and grits that I had in New Orleans.
Yeah, honestly, a well-cooked shrimp is so fucking good because it's so easy to fuck up. Like, just a few seconds longer and you have a fucked up shrimp. But yeah, good shrimp is delectable.
Just like sweet and like, yeah, just the right texture. Oh man, I want to go away and have some shrimp for lunch now. I don't think we have any.
I think I've decided what I'm gonna have for dinner now as well.
All right.
Should we get out of here, sir?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, is there any particular things that you wanted to hit otherwise? Are we good?
Well, here's my question. Little peek in behind the curtain. We jumped right into the interview with Mr. Mark Davis. We haven't done a forward for the show. So should we close up shop and then jump into the beginning of the show?
Yeah, to draw the curtain back for people.
Yeah, I don't mind doing that. I think it's fun.
Yeah, I like it. All right. Well,
All right,
we
will
be back
now, and we'll be back to it.
We'll be back with the beginning of the show. If you want to listen to it in context, I encourage you to skip back to the start of the podcast to hear us talk again, which you've already heard at this point. All right.
Oh, we'll make it very natural. Thank you, Jay, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us.
Yeah, as always.
Where can they find you on the internet, Chris?
You can find me on the Twitter and Instagram at Chris Things. I have a bunch of tasty stuff coming out of that wrestling hip-hop art show that I did recently, so I'll be sharing a bunch of that for those of you that enjoy hip-hop and wrestling mashups. How about you, sir?
You can catch me at Jaims Vanderbeek, Jaims Vanderbeek, on both Instagram and Twitter. And if you're a wrestling fan or a wrestler and you need a shirt design, please hit me up.
Please do. Good stuff.
All right.
As always. I love it. And I wanted to make sure we also give our shout out to the great guys at the Social Suplex Wrestling Podcast Network. Check them out at socialsuplex.com. Check out that One Nation Radio, that Ricky and Clive wrestling show, that Outsiders Edge wrestling show, along with Keeping It Strong Style. All of that at socialsuplex.com. Get into it. I feel like that was the most smooth plug for Social Suplex that I've ever done. I wanted to just give myself a pat on the back there.
I wanted to congratulate you on a very smooth plug of the host of our podcast, Chris. We've been doing this here how many weeks now? And you nailed the shit out of it.
Ah, thank you. It only took me 12 episodes to get there.
All right, ladies and gents, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the interview with our good buddy Dunkzilla. And till next time, get swifty.
Exactly, and to extend it out a little bit longer, because I know that Courtney likes
Courtney,
that a lot.
This is for you.
I wanted to make sure that we have the Easter egg in the show that we have every time. We have to mention Courtney's name. So there we go. Got it in there.
Bye, darling. Bye, darling.
Farewell.
Adios.
Nice.
All right, let's get into the beginning.
Yeah, let's
Let's keep that spirit alive.
Well, a bird, bird, bird.